Okay, welcome again to our Tuesday night shiur, Parashat Vayetze. So last week we spoke about Mincha. This week we're going to speak about Arvit. And we're going to see, because we really have a few questions about Yaakov Avinu. We know that the Parasha says, Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva ve'elech Harana, vayivga b'makom vayelen sham. And he says that he hit the place and he was there. It's a very interesting idea, Vayivga b'makom. It doesn't say that Yaakov Avinu prayed, it says Vayivga b'makom. He hit that place. It's like, what does it mean, Vayivga? It doesn't say that he went and prayed, and we learn from there that Yaakov Avinu prayed Arvit. We also know that the Torah says that Yaakov Avinu was a tzaddik, he was a righteous man, because he left Beersheva, and Rashi tells us that when a tzaddik leaves the city lacks light. But what we need to understand is in the Parashat Vayetze we see something very interesting. The difference between Yaakov and Yitzchak is that Yitzchak zivug came to him. Yaakov had to go to his zivug. Yaakov had to go and find his wife. Yitzchak's wife came to him. So I want to understand today the difference between why Yaakov had to go and find his wife, and why Yitzchak's wife came to him, and why Yaakov, that we know last week we said that there's a midah of Yitzchak that's mishubach ba'avot. He's praiseworthy amongst the other avot. But by Yaakov, we know, everybody knows that Yaakov Avinu is bechir sheba'avot. Because Yaakov Avinu, he had the 12 tribes, he didn't have any psolet. That's what the Midrash says, Vaikach me'avnei hamakom, he took from the stones of the place. There were 3 stones, and he says that he put the 3 stones together, and if these 3 stones come together, right? One of the things is that if the stones came together, he would know that that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Midrash says 3 different things. One, that he knows that 12 tribes need to come, since they didn't come out of Avraham and they didn't come out of Yitzchak, they'll come out of him. The second thing the Midrash says is that Keshem sheyiched HaKadosh Baruch Hu et Shmo al Avraham, ken yached et Shmo al Yitzchak, so too HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make his name flow upon me. And the third thing that Yaakov Avinu says, that if the three Avanim become one, if they all become one, says Yaakov Avinu, I know shelo yitzeh psolet miyadi, that I'm the one that's going to be straight. Everything is going to come good for me. Nothing will be bad. And we know that Yaakov Avinu got married at the age of 84. Wow. So we have to pay Daled Shanim. And we know that pay Daled is connected. A person, Chas v'Shalom, has one kind of illicit relations. You have to fast 84 fasts. So Yaakov Avinu was metaken chet Adam HaRishon, the 130 years that Adam HaRishon left his wife, and there were all kinds of things happening in those 130 years that Adam HaRishon left his wife. And the truth is that we know that Shufra de Yaakov is Shufra de Adam HaRishon. It's the beauty of Yaakov Avinu was really the beauty of Adam HaRishon, and Yaakov Avinu was really a Gilgul of Adam HaRishon. He came to fix the chet of Adam HaRishon. And we know that really all of us, all our souls, were incorporated in Adam HaRishon. And therefore a person has to know that wherever you enjoyed the sin of the Etz Hadat Tov v'Ra, when Adam HaRishon ate from the Etz Hadat, no matter what the fruit tree was, whether it was a grape, whether it was a grain, no matter what the Gemara says, wherever you were in the building called Adam HaRishon, that is what your rectification has to be. But where was Yaakov Avinu? Yaakov Avinu was also existed in Adam HaRishon. But where was Yaakov Avinu in Adam HaRishon? He was in the kaneh. In the kaneh of the Adam HaRishon. He was in the windpipe. And what does the Torah tell us? And when we come to Ilchot Pesach, the Torah tells us, why do we lean to the left? Because Shema yagdim et hakaneh leveshet. Maybe a person will bring his windpipe to his esophagus, and then a person, God forbid, chokes. Therefore, a person has to lean to the left and he can't lean to the right. So when you're in the windpipe, you don't get any enjoyment from what's coming down the throat. So really Yaakov Avinu, when the neshama of Yaakov Avinu existed in that building called Adam Rishon, Yaakov Avinu's neshama didn't get any enjoyment from the sin of the chet of Adam Rishon. That's why it could have only been Yaakov Avinu that could come and fix Adam Rishon. And that's why when Adam Rishon left his wife for 130 years and all kinds of things happened, it took Yaakov Avinu had to wait 84 years until he married, and he came in to marry Leah, and then he married Rachel. But we have to understand, if Yaakov Avinu was so great, why was the tefillah? First of all, it doesn't even say that Yaakov Avinu prayed. It says Vayivga b'makom, and he hit that place. We learn from there, Chazal, the rabbis come and teach us that, Yaakov Avinu tiken tefillat arvit. How? It says, not only that, he missed the tefillah. Really, he wanted to pray during the day. But when he says, Shema avati al makom she'avotai itpalalu velo itpalalti, maybe I went over the place that my forefathers prayed and I didn't pray, which was Beit HaMikdash. Kafza lo haaretz, the land sort of crippled together, and Yaakov Avinu went backwards, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu held the day, and he prayed Arvit. Now, says the Gemara in Brachot, something very interesting. There's a machloket in the Gemara in Arvot. In Brachot, it says, Tanu Rabbanan Maaseh beTalmid Echad. One student came into the Beit HaMidrash, Sheba lifnei Rabbi Yoshua, and he came in front of Rabbi Yoshua, and he told him, listen, Rabbi Yoshua, I have a question. Tfilat Arvit chova or reshut? The prayer of Arvit, when we pray Arvit, is that considered obligatory? Meaning, Shacharit and Mincha, every Jew has to pray. Why? Because Shacharit is Keneged Korban Shel Shachar, the first Korban that was brought in the Beit HaMikdash, and Tfilat Mincha is Keneged Korban Shel Ben Arbaim, the Korban that ended everything. But we know that Tfilat Arvit, there's no sacrifice that was brought in the Beit HaMikdash at night. So comes this student and asks Rabbi Yeshua, he says, Rabbi, I want to understand something. This prayer of Arvit, is it Chova or Reshut? Amar le Reshut. Really, it's not obligatory. You want to pray Arvit, pray Arvit. You don't want to pray Arvit, don't pray Arvit. So right away, a person has to ask himself, Yaakov Avinu, which is Dmuto Chakuk al Kisei Kavod. The image of Yaakov Avinu is on the Kisei Kavod. Until HaKadosh Baruch Hu kara lo El. HaKadosh Baruch Hu called Yaakov Avinu a God, kiviyachol. Which means Yaakov Avinu raised himself to a level where the 12 tribes came out of him. Yaakov Avinu didn't see any psolet. He's the Bechir Shabavot. He's the highest avot that there is. Yaakov Avinu is the highest of the high. The only reason Avraham Avinu, we said this many times, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu save Avraham Avinu mikifshan ha'esh? Why did he save him from the burning fire of Nimrod? Only because he saw that later on Avraham Avinu was going to have the son called Yaakov. So if Avraham Avinu got a tefillah, which is called Shacharit, and Yitzchak Avinu got a tefillah, which is called Mincha, and those are obligatory tefillot, a person cannot, if you don't pray tefillat shacharit, and if you don't pray tefillat mincha, it's a problem. How can this student walk into the shul and say, Rabbi, I have a question, tefillat arvit chova reshut, comes Rabbi Yeshua and tells him it's reshut. It's not obligatory. You want to pray, pray. You don't want to pray, don't pray. Yaakov Avinu, if any tefillah that he's gonna make, shouldn't that be obligatory? So the Gemara continues, Balifnei Rabban Gamliel, he came in front of Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel was the Nasi Ador. He was the head of the generation. He was the biggest rabbi at that time. And he comes to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, Tfilat Arvit or Reshut or Chova? Does a person have to pray Arvit or he doesn't have to pray Arvit? Amar lo Chova. What do you mean Reshut? It's not. Of course you have to pray Arvit. Of course, we know that really Tfilat Arvit in the beginning was not part of the equation until we all accepted upon ourselves to make sure that Tfilat Arvit is obligatory. So Rabban Gamliel Amar lo Chova, Amar lo Valo Rabbi Yeshua Amar Reshut. Says, didn't Rabbi Yeshua says Reshut? So the Gemara goes on and continues, there's a big machloket, and Rabban Gamliel invited Rabbi Yeshua to the Beit Midrash, and he asked him, did you say that Tfilat Arvit is Reshut, or did you say it's Chova? And the guy said, I was here, I testified that he said it was Reshut, you pray, if you want to pray, you pray, if you don't want to pray, you don't want to pray, until Rabban Gamliel made Rabbi Yeshua stand and say it. So why are these rabbis arguing whether Tfilat Arvit is something obligatory, or is something that you want, that is part of the equation, or it's the Reshut, you want to pray, pray, you don't want to pray, pray, don't pray. Later on, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ezu ben olam haba. Who is a person that's considered to be a ben olam haba? It doesn't mean you merit olam haba. You become a ben olam haba. Meaning a person is part and parcel with olam haba. Zeh somech gula letfilah. When we say Baruch Ata Hashem Ga'al Yisrael, and then you say Hashem Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Agi Tilatecha, that's called being Somech Geula Letfilah, meaning that I mention the fact that Am Yisrael left Egypt, and right away I get up for prayer, which is what we do in Shacharit, and which is what we do in Arvit. It comes Rabbi Yochanan and it says that a person is considered to be Olam Haba when he connects the redemption out of Egypt, and he says Hashem Sfatai Tifrach. In which tefillah? Arvit, not in Shacharit. Ezu ben olam haba, comes Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol hasomech geula letfilah. When you say Baruch Ata Hashem Ga'al Yisrael, and then you say Hashem Sfatai Tiftach, Ashkivenu, the bracha of Ashkivenu is really called Geula Arichta. It's called a continuation of that redemption. It's not a stoppage. So what does that mean? If tefillat Arvit is reshut, meaning you want to pray, pray, you don't want to pray, don't pray. How can you base if somebody's a ben olam haba, he's the son of olam haba, meaning it's his home, if you're somech gula letfilah? So we have a few questions to just whet the appetite. Yaakov Avinu Bechir Sheba'avot is the greatest of the fathers. Everybody got a tefillah. All of a sudden Yaakov Avinu's tefillah is in limbo. You want to pray, pray. You don't want to pray, don't pray. Really, it's a reshut. It's not a chovah, obligatory. You want to do it. Don't want to do it. How can you say that this is the whole world really was created for Yaakov Avinu? We could know Yaakov Avinu ish tam yoshev alim. He's the person that came and was metaken chet adam harishon. From Yaakov Avinu come out the 12 tribes. How can it be that the tefillah of Yaakov Avinu is even in a thought process of being that you want to pray, pray, you don't want to pray, don't pray it? That's our first question. And we know, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it says that a person that's the only tefillah that if you're zayir ba, if you're careful in it, to be somech gula letfilah, you get olam haba. He doesn't say it about shacharit, he doesn't say it about mincha. Last week we said that mincha is a great tefillah, that a person should be careful by tefillah mincha, because lo ne'ena Eliyahu ela b'mincha. Eliyahu Navi was only answered when he prayed tefillat mincha. But it doesn't say that if a person prayed tefillat mincha, he's a ben olam haba. You become a son of the world to come, which means you become part and parcel of the world to come. It's inherited to you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it to you like a father who has wealth and gives it to his son. By Tfilat Arvit, it says, Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol HaSomech Gula LeTfilah becomes a person that's Ben Olam Haba. You don't see that by any other tefillot. But on the other hand, there's a machloket in the Gemara whether you even have to pray Tfilat Arvit. So it's two extremes. The Torah is taking us in two different venues. Either you have to pray this prayer or you don't have to pray. You do it, you feel what you do. But on the other hand, if you do pray it, you become a Ben Olam Haba, which means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is your father, you're his son, and he has to inherit to you his wealth, which is Olam Haba. Now we also have to understand a different thing. Yaakov Avinu, when he goes down to find his wife, right? When he leaves Haran, he leaves with a lot of wealth, right? Why? Because he knows, listen, when Eliezer left Yitzchak, when Eliezer went to find a wife for Yitzchak, Avraham Avinu gave him all his wealth. And Eliezer went with the wealth of Avraham Avinu. He went with gold, he went with silver, he went with camels, he went like a big shot. He goes, listen, I'm going to represent Avraham Avinu. I'm going to find a wife for Yitzchak. I have to show her what he owns. So when Yaakov Avinu leaves his parents and he goes to find a wife, what happens to him? Eliphaz, the son of Esav, right? Says to him, listen, Yaakov, I have a big problem. My father told me to kill you, but I grew up by the hands of Yitzchak, and my grandfather told me that I can't kill my uncle. I grew up in Kedusha, but listen, what am I going to do? I have to do the will of my father. So Yaakov Avinu tells him what? Take my wealth, ani chashuv kemet. A person who has nothing is considered to be like dead. You'll do the will of your father, and we'll continue. Nonetheless, we see something very interesting by Yaakov. Says Yaakov Avinu goes down to Sinai la'arim man yavo ezri. I look up to my eyes and I say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where is my wife going to come from? Ezri is my wife. My help means my wife. אל ההורים לפני ולמעבדני בשעה שאליפז נתן ממנו כל ממונו. The Midrash says at the time that Eliphaz took all the money from Yaakov Avinu, אמר מאין יבוא עזרי. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look, when Eliezer went to find a wife for Yitzchak, he had wealth. I'm coming down, I'm going to find a wife for myself, I'm coming empty-handed. How am I going to get a wife? What am I going to give her? I have nothing. So he says, איך אפשר שמאין בלא ממון יבוא עזרי? How can I get a wife? I have no money. How many of us have that? Every person says, oh, I can't get married, I don't have financial stability, I don't have this. So Yaakov Avinu is going to deal with your question today. Because I hear this all the time. I say to a person, how come you don't get married? Oh, I don't have financial stability, I don't have the right job, I'm waiting for the right job. So here Yaakov Avinu dealt with that problem also. He says, Ad shitzchazek v'amar chas v'shalom. So Yaakov Avinu he had this question also. Yaakov Avinu was like us. He had to go, oh look, I don't have financial stability, I don't have $3 million in the bank, I can't get married. I went. My father, when he sent my grandfather, when he sent to find a wife for Yitzchak, he sent all his wealth. Me, no financial stability. What does Yaakov say? Chas v'shalom, ma ani morid bitchoni me'Hashem. I'm taking my trust from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ezri mi'im Hashem. You know who's going to give me my wife? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oseh shamayim va'aretz. You think that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu can make the heavens and the earth, He can't give me a wife? Yaakov Avinu also goes, I'm empty-handed, I can't find a wife, I don't have financial stability. What am I going to do? I'm not going to find a wife. Says, oh, chas v'shalom, says Yaakov Avinu. I'm putting my faith in money? But then on the other hand, we have another problem. Yaakov Avinu seems to have an obsession with money. Why? When Yaakov Avinu comes back after years with Lavan, by the way, it says, Lavan garti, right? V'taryag mitzvot shamarti. Very interesting that Yaakov Avinu has to go down into the darkness all the time. Imagine the life of Yaakov Avinu. If you had a company and you had a CEO of that company, yeah? Wouldn't you worry about the CEO? Wouldn't you make sure that this CEO had everything? He had a private assistant, an assistant to the private assistant. This is Yaakov Avinu. You're talking about a CEO of a company that can make your company not $1 billion company. You can make your company $1 trillion company. This is Yaakov Avinu we're talking about. This is the CEO of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's running the show. He's running the world. You're sending him down to the lion's den of Lavan. You're making him work winters, summers. Yaakov Avinu says, I didn't see day, I didn't see night. What are you doing? What's going on with Yaakov Avinu? Abechir Shabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is your VIP son? You're sending him down to the lion's den of Lavan. He's cheating him left and right. He worked 7 years for one wife. You gave him another wife. What's going on in the life of Yaakov Avinu? Not only that, when Yaakov Avinu leaves Lavan, all of a sudden, Vayvater Yaakov levado, he's left by himself. What did he go back over the river for? He went back over the river for a small little vessel. Yaakov Avinu, you're risking your whole family for a little vessel. That's how obsessed you are with money. Does that make sense to anybody? He's worried about money when it comes to shidduch. He's worried about money when he leaves his vessel over the river. So he has to go back to the river. Says Yaakov Avinu. He's constantly, Yaakov Avinu lives a life of doubt and strength. Doubt and strength. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, don't worry about Esav. I'm worried. Vayal. He's scared. What are you scared about? Shema yigrom achet. Maybe the sin's going to do it. So you see, Yaakov Avinu is in a sense of limbo, but he strengthens himself. Ma'ayin yavo ezri, I don't have any money. Chas v'shalom. Ezri mi'im Hashem, oseh shamayim v'aretz. He strengthens himself. No, how can I have this thought? So what's this idea of tfilat arvit? What's the Torah trying to teach us about Yaakov Avinu? By the way, who was another Gilgul of Yaakov Avinu? Mordechai. Vaishev Mordechai b'shar HaMelech. Mordechai was also a Gilgul of Yaakov Avinu. Now, why is that connected? Because really, Yaakov Avinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is sending us a message. What's Tfilat Arvit? Tfilat Arvit is in a state of darkness. Where do you see, by Yitzchak Avinu, he wasn't allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. By Yaakov Avinu, when Yaakov Avinu has to go down to Mitzrayim, he has to go down to Egypt, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, V'anochi ered imach, I'll go down with you. Why is it that when the Torah introduces us that the idea of Tfilat Arvit is talking about a Shidduch. By Mincha it says, Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basadeh. Yitzchak went out to the field, and it also, after he finished Tfilat Mincha, he lifted up his eyes and he saw Rivka. Says the Midrash Rabbah, Yesh olech lezivugo, v'yesh zivugo ba'elav. There's a person that goes to his wife, and there's a person that his wife comes to him. By Tfilat Mincha, his wife came to him. By Tfilat Arvit, he had to go to his wife. What's the message that the Torah is trying to tell us? So there's two different things here. There's a relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael means us. There's a relationship of a male and a female. A male is always called the mashpia, it's called the giver. A female is called the taker, she's the receiver. So when a male and a female, that's why a woman constantly wants to get married. Why? Because she needs to receive. A male is called the mashpia. So that's why we have tefillah. When a person gets up for tefillah, when you get up the first time, you're the male. Tfilat Chazara, you become the female. Why? Because in the first time you're the giver. When the tefillah comes back, that's why it's called Chazara. It's what does it mean? You're receiving. That you become the female. Yesh olech lezivugo veyesh zivugo ba'elav. By Yaakov Avinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is teaching us a lesson of galut, a lesson of exile. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when it comes to exile, Vanochi ered imach. You know what the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in exile? That we bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu down here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is here. By Yaakov Avinu, Tfilat Arvit is in the state of darkness. You see, Yaakov Avinu's life is that he's going down. Yaakov Avinu had no tikkun. He wasn't even part of Chet Adam Arishon. He had nothing to fix, but yet he's the one that fixes the Chet Adam Arishon. Why is his Tfilat Arvit? Because, and why is Yaakov Avinu so worried about material possessions? Because the Torah tells us that when a person has the material possessions, there are sparks of holiness that are ingrained in those material possessions that belong to him. You know, all of a sudden a person goes in the world, you have something and you lost it, right? Why did you lose it at that point? Because it no longer belongs to you. You took out all the sparks of holiness that were for you. Now somebody else has to do it. So that guy that found your lost article, he has now to take the sparks of Kedusha. Now when a person has an item and that item breaks, why did it break at that moment? Because you took out everything from it. Whatever belonged to you, those sparks of Kedusha, those sparks of holiness that belonged to your neshama, you took out of it. That's why it broke at that moment. Any relationship is the same thing. All of a sudden you were friends with a guy for 10 years and somehow that guy disappears, you don't see him again. That connection was severed. You took out whatever was supposed to be in that connection, it's no longer. So when Chazal tells us that Yaakov Avinu prayed Tfilat Arvit, what does that mean? Yaakov Avinu has to go down into the darkness. And only Yaakov Avinu can do that. Yaakov Avinu is teaching us the lesson of exile. The lesson of exile, you know what Milchemet Gog v'Magog is? The Zohar says, what's Milchemet Gog v'Magog? It's not what you think. It's not going to be a nuclear war. You know what the Milchemet Gog v'Magog is?
It's a war of thoughts.
Exactly. Milchemet Gog v'Magog is a nuclear war inside a person's head. The Yetzer Hara is getting it. It's an impression. It's a thought of perception. It's a war of thoughts. That's why you see the world is constantly trying to get through into your eyes. Billboards, commercials, movies, radios, iPhones. A person's glued to his phones. It's constantly giving you messages. The Yetzer Hara is constantly giving you messages that your mind is constantly in doubt. A person's in doubt. That's the last exile. The last exile is that a person, Milchemet Gog Magog, is a nuclear war inside your head. That you don't know who you are. You don't know what's going to be. You're always in doubt. Even Yaakov Avinu was left like a poor man. Imagine. The CEO of the company. Yaakov Avinu Bechir Avot. He's left like a poor man. He says, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Oh, 1 second. No, I can't let that thought in. Ezri Me'im Hashem. Chas v'shalom, it says. How can I even think about that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't give me a wife? Ezri Me'im Hashem. Why does he go back for that little kettle? Because it says, tzadikim mamonam chaviv aleim kegufam. By the tzadikim, their wealth is just as precious to them as their own body. What does that mean? Because the sparks of holiness that exist in when a person goes out to work. What does that mean when you go out to work? The Sfat Emet says, how do you live Torah even in your workplace? That when you go out to the material world, you have to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and tell him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to cling on to you in this materialism. When I go out to work, I want to do whatever it is that I'm doing by sitting and learning. Those sparks of holiness that I have to gather from the world that are connected to only my neshama, my soul, they're only connected to my soul. I want to make sure so therefore you live, you're doing the will of Hashem, you're getting life, you're getting the source of life even when you're out working. That's what Yaakov Avinu says. Yaakov Avinu, when he takes out Rachel and Leah, he tells them, look, I worked for your father. Why do you think Yaakov Avinu has to endure winters like summer, summer like winters, days like nights, nights like days? He's teaching us the lesson of Galut, that in Galut, you're going to be in places that you don't want to be in. HaKadosh Baruch Hu throws Yaakov Avinu into the lion's den because there's sparks of Kedusha that Yaakov Avinu has to take out of Lavan. Who was Lavan later on? Bilam. Lavan later on became Bilam. And look how Bilam's jealousy was of the Jewish people. It says, Vayishkon am levad. Look at this nation, how beautiful they are in their tents. So Yaakov Avinu is in Tfilat Arvit. Why is Tfilat Arvit? Why is it the question whether it's Reshut or Chovah? Because you're not allowed to go down into the darkness unless Hashem puts you there. A person is not allowed to go down to the darkness. You're not allowed to fall. But if they make you fall, then you have to fall. That's the secret of this exile. That a person says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't understand what's going on with me. I'm doing everything right. Why am I constantly falling? If you're falling because you made yourself fall, it's a problem. But if HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes you fall, it's because He needs you to do it. That's why Kol HaSomech Geula Letfilah Be'arvit. If a person connects redemption of Yetziat Mitzrayim, the redemption of Egypt, to Tfilat Arvit, Uniya Ben Olam Haba. Because a son is willing to do whatever he needs to do for his father, even go down to the mud. And when you go down to the mud, it doesn't always feel so good. It's not like when you feel elated. It's not like when a person feels so spiritually close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when your learning is going good. When you get up and pray and you feel, wow, what a prayer. When you do a mitzvah and you get all excited. No, sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends you into the mud. But when you're a son, you're willing to go into the mud. But it's a very fine line. That's why it is Tfilat Arvit Reshut or is Tfilat Arvit Chovah? What does that mean? Because it's not up to you. Whether you go down to the darkness you see in today's world, a person is once Rabbi Nachman was at a wedding, and there was a jokester at the wedding. And the jokester acted 1 second like a priest, and the next second like a rabbi. And everybody started to laugh. So Rabbi Nachman said to the crowd that you're all laughing, but really that's what happens to a Jew every day. 1 second you're a priest, which means you're going the opposite direction. 1 second you're a rabbi. That's what happens to a Jew in this galut. It's extremes. And you don't know what's going on with you. But that's the idea. If you're going into the mud because you chose to, that's not allowed. But that's the idea. Is Tfilat Arvit Chovah or is Tfilat Arvit Reshut? What does it mean Yaakov Avinu became Mordechai? You see, by Yaakov Avinu he becomes Mordechai. He's always related to some kind of redemption. Yaakov Avinu is the third of the Avot, the last Galut. Mordechai saved Am Yisrael. When Mordechai didn't bow down to Aman, why didn't he bow down to Aman? Because Yaakov bowed down to Esav. And even though Yaakov was bowing down to Shechina, the Arizal says that Esav came back as Aman, and Yaakov came back as Mordechai, and that's why it says V'lo ishtachaveh. Mordechai wouldn't bow down to Aman because he knew that he had to fix the fact that he bowed down the first time to Esav. So Yaakov is really, what is Yaakov? He's the white knight in the darkness. That's why Kadosh Baruch Hu sends him down to the house of Lavan. You see, by Avraham Avinu, Kadosh Baruch Hu takes him away from Terach. Yitzchak, a whole different situation. Yitzchak Avinu is a person that doesn't go anywhere. Everybody comes to him. His wife comes to him. Elimelech comes to him. He doesn't leave Eretz Yisrael. He's a whole different entity. He's a person that lives in Olam Haba. Yaakov Avinu is a person that lives in this world and in the world to come. That's why it says Yaakov, Yaakov. That's why Yaakov Avinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, V'lo yikra shimcha od Yaakov ela Yisrael. Why? Because what's happening to you is what's going to happen to Am Yisrael in the last exile. Because if you lived, imagine living a life of Yaakov. You leave the house of your father. The first second you leave the house of your father, your nephew robs you. You get to the house of Lavan, you say, I'm willing to work for you, he cheats you. You work for 14 years. You don't know day, the guy cheats you. He goes, Kadosh Baruch Hu, where are you? This guy's cheating me left, right, and center. I was supposed to marry the younger daughter, I married the older daughter. What's going on with my life? Kadosh Baruch Hu, you with me or you're against me? You have nothing, you're Yaakov Avinu. You're the CEO of the company. That's Galut. You don't see a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's nighttime. Yaakov Avinu lived the world of night. Look at how many Yisurim Yaakov Avinu, from one problem to another problem. You get robbed. You go to Lavan. After you leave Lavan, Dinah. You get rid of Dinah, Yosef. It doesn't end by Yaakov Avinu. The problems don't end. That's Tfilat Arvit. Why is Yaakov Avinu metaken Tfilah that we're in? We're in doubt whether this tefillah is reshut or chovah, whether it's obligatory or it's something that you could do if you want to, because Yaakov Avinu displayed to us going down to the darkness. Kol hasomech tfilat arvit, geula letfilat arvit, is ben olam haba. So, we mentioned that tefillah is an idea of female and male relationship. So the Tfilat Arvit, sometimes we act as the male, and sometimes we act as the female. And sometimes Kaviyachol HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts as the receiver, and sometimes he acts as the giver. We know that Yaakov Avinu prayed at night, and Yitzchak Avinu prayed during the day. So he says something very interesting. He says like this. Why does Yitzchak Avinu, his zivug comes to him, and by Yaakov Avinu he goes to his zivug? Because Yaakov Avinu acted as the giver, and Yitzchak Avinu acted as the receiver. And we know that the Laila, night, who's in control, the sun or the moon? The moon. So what happens in the moon? The moon at night, how does it get its light? The moon gives us light, but it becomes a receiver of the light from the sun.
Which is a symbol of man.
Right? So he says that the night, so really the idea of Tfilat of Arvit is Inyan Yehuda Dukra V'Anukva. It's connecting Knesset Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Knesset Yisrael is us, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And there's always a relationship of a female and a male. So what happens at night? What happens in the time of night? We bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu to this world. Because at night a person can't see. So Yaakov Avinu was that knight in shining armor in the nighttime. He was constantly revealing a Kadosh Baruch Hu in a place that you couldn't see. That's why he was obsessive about his money. Because he needed to make sure that he wouldn't leave even one spark of holiness in the darkness. Because his whole reason was going down to the house of Lavan. That's why the first thing he says to Esav, Im Lavan garti v'taryag mitzvot shamarti. You want to know my journey into the darkness? My journey into the darkness, make sure you understand this, Esav. I didn't leave even one spark of holiness. I revealed the name of a Kadosh Baruch Hu even in the dark darkest of places. That's why I made Tfilat Arvit. When a person gets up and he prays, he's revealing the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu wherever he is. Says Yaakov Avinu, you know what I did? I revealed the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the darkness of places. In the house of Lavan, where there's Avodah Zarah. You know Rachel, when she stole the Avodah Zarah of Lavan, why are you stealing the Avodah Zarah of Lavan? Well, who cares? Avodah Zarah has power? Yeah, at that time Avodah Zarah did have power. The Trafim of Lavan, you know why Rachel stole the Trafim of Lavan? Because she knew that if she wouldn't steal them, you know what they would say? Yaakov barach, Yaakov barach, Yaakov is leaving, Yaakov is leaving. They had powers. The Avodah Zarah at that time had power. Rachel says, we're going to leave our father, we have to sell, we have to escape, we have to take the Avodah Zarah with us. That's why Chazal, at the time of the second Beit HaMikdash, the first Beit HaMikdash, they took away the power of the Avodah Zarah, the second Beit HaMikdash. They took away the power of Avodah Zarah because it had powers. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Avodah Zarah powers. That's why she took him and she stole him from Lavan. She didn't want Lavan to know that they were running away from him. So Yaakov Avinu says, in Lavan garti tareg mitzvot shamarti, Esav, listen, I did my part. I revealed HaKadosh Baruch Hu even in the darkness of places. So that CEO of the company called Yaakov Avinu, when Yaakov Avinu is making Tfilat Arvit, and all of a sudden Rabban Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua, they're having an argument, is Tfilat Arvit Chovah? Is it obligatory? Is it Reshut? Is it something that we have to do? Is it something that we don't have to do? And Milchemet Gog uMagog, which is a representation of a person is in doubt. Why are you in doubt? When is the person ever in doubt? In a state of darkness. When a person is in a state of darkness, then you're in doubt. That's why it says that Eliyahu Navi comes ve'eshiv levavot al banim. He's going to straighten your mind. What do you think Eliyahu Navi is going to come? Eliyahu Navi is going to come back to you and he's going to give you a straightness of mind. He's going to give you the right way of perceiving the world. But Yaakov Avinu already did the job for us. He made Tfilat Arvit. Tfilat Arvit is revealing HaKadosh Baruch Hu even in the darkness of places. Yaakov Avinu goes down and says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I have nothing. How am I going to get married? Chas v'shalom. Ezri mi'im Hashem. I can't rely on what I'm seeing. I can't rely on material wealth. I can't rely on my strengths. Ezri mi'im Hashem oseh shamayim va'aretz. Says Yaakov Avinu, how can I be in doubt? How can I doubt that I'm going to get a wife because I have nothing? And if I had something, that would mean I could get a wife? That's Tfilat Arvit. Tfilat Arvit means that even in the darkness of places, a person knows how to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does it mean to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the darkness of places? That you know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take care of you even when you have nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you a wife, He's going to give you a job, He's going to give you whatever you need to be in the journey that you need that's called Olam Hazeh, even when you have nothing. That's why Yaakov Avinu says, Achi itchazek. Imagine what the Torah is telling us. The Midrash says, Achi itchazek. Yaakov Avinu also needed to strengthen himself. When does a person need to strengthen himself? At nighttime, when things are going, when you're in doubt, when you don't see a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's when you need chizuk. Yaakov Avinu gave us a message. When you're going to be in galut, and it's going to seem like your Kadosh Baruch Hu is not with you. It's going to seem like you're doing all the right things, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu left, and people are cheating you, and the Yetzer Hara is taking advantage of you. Achi itchazek. Chas v'shalom. Ma'ani morid bitchoni b'Hashem. Listen to these words. Am I taking my bitachon away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Am I taking my trust? You're right, it's a little cloudy outside. Things aren't right, it doesn't seem right. Chas v'shalom. Ma'ani morid bitchoni me'Hashem. Am I taking my trust from HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Ezri mi'im Hashem. Here he's talking about a wife, but he means my help, my guidance, my salvation. Me'im Hashem oseh shamayim va'aretz. Whatever salvation I need in that darkness that I am, that's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu oseh shamayim va'aretz. It doesn't matter if I deserve it, if I don't deserve it. That's why Tfilat Arvit Reshut or Chovah. It's a big question. Is Tfilat Arvit Reshut? Is it obligatory? We paskin la halacha. The halacha is, you're right, you have to daven Arvit. What does it mean you have to daven? Comes Rabban Gamliel says, you know why you have to daven Arvit? Because you have to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is even with you in the darkness of places. That's why we accepted upon ourselves Tfilat Arvit as obligatory. Because if a Jew goes in a dark place and he doesn't think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with him, that's a disaster. So Tfilat Arvit Chovah. Even though Yaakov Avinu The reshut part of it is that if they throw you in the mud, you have to be there, but don't put yourself there. But when it comes to the realization, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with me in the state of darkness, that's chovah, that's obligatory. Am I going to take my bitachon away from Hashem? That's the lesson of Yaakov Avinu. That's the lesson of Tfilat Arvit. That even in the darkness of places, you have to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you have to trust that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you whatever salvation you need in that place.